Now, to speak on this with us and the measures in achieving credible polls in the forthcoming Ondo and Edo governorship polls, we are joined by Public Affairs Analyst Jide Ojo. Jide, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure.
Good. Now, so Jide, what measures should the Independent National Electoral Commission take to ensure the continuous voters registration process is transparent, accessible, and also secure? And how can these measures contribute to enhancing the credibility of the elections?
Okay, so it's very important because I was at that forum that you just showed footage of yesterday. I was one of those who were invited, and incidentally, I also wrote about it in my column in the Punch of today. We need to understand the context that election is a methodical exercise. It's a procedural exercise. Election rigging does not happen on the day of election. If you are not allowed to register to vote, even if you are 18 years and above, you are already rigged out as an electorate, as a voter. That means you are disenfranchised. And it is in order not to disenfranchise any voter that INEC has taken it upon itself. In the recent past, usually INEC would do the registration at the local government offices. But because of the constraints and the complaint that a lot of people find it difficult to go to that centralized area, INEC decided to devolve to the ward level. And it has given the number of wards in Ondo and in Edo where this will happen. In fact, the list of where the wards are located was also shared with us yesterday. So there is both soft and print copy of the list of all the wards where the registration will take place. And that will enhance the credibility of the election because, the last registration exercise possibly took place ahead of the November 11 elections in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo State. But this is another round of off-cycle governorship election, and it is the opportunity that has been given to potential voters in Edo and Ondo states who have attained the age of 18 but are yet to register to now register. And aside from that, those who have lost their voters card, those whose voters card are defaced or rumpled, or they have issues with content of what's on their voters card, have opportunity to have those corrections. You also have opportunity to move your voter registration from one state or one ward or one polling unit to another. So it's a golden opportunity for participatory election. And that is one of the essence of democracy. Democracy is not just anchoring on periodic election, but it also must be participatory. And that's why opportunities have once again been given to members of the public who are 18 years and above, who have never registered, to now come forward, register to vote. And that is the first level. After this is for them to now show up to collect their PVCs, that is their permanent voters card, and thereafter at the polls on November 21 in Ondo State, and on November 16 in Ondo State, and September 2023 or thereabouts in Edo State, they should also come out to cast their ballot.
Okay, Mr. Jide. So now we're talking about three different bodies here, or parties, if you may. We're talking about INEC, we're talking about the parties, we're talking about voters. So looking at the unique case of Edo State and Ondo State, the unique political climate, how can parties and also candidates contribute to the peaceful, inclusive electoral environment in these states? And what are the potential risks of not prioritizing fair and credible elections in these states?
As I said in my column today, credible election, inclusive election does not start and end with INEC, which is the electoral umpire. The actors, the actor here, the political gatekeepers, the political participants, the candidates, must play by the rules. Incidentally, in Edo State, public campaign have started since April 24. It's going to be for 150 days. And we know what usually happens during the campaigns, where you talk of clashes among party supporters, psychological and physical violence. All of these are something we should not encourage ahead of this election coming up in Edo and Ondo State. And also the political party as a critical actor and stakeholder in the electoral process also holds the responsibility to mobilize their members to participate in the electoral process. In fact, they hold it a duty to also join INEC in conducting voter education. One, it is part of their responsibility to mobilize their members to go and register to vote, because they are going to be the primary beneficiary of this election when the time comes. So all their members, from ward through to local government, to states, to federal level, all their members who are in Edo and Ondo states who may not have registered have an opportunity and should be encouraged to go and register to vote. They should also encourage them to go and collect their PVCs. And then during the election, they should encourage their members who have collected their PVCs to come out. What we have seen over the years is poor turnout of voters at the polls. In fact, the last national elections, we recorded less than 30% voter turnout. It was so bad in the Chelsea federal constituency by-election that INEC conducted in February this year, that only about 8% of voters turned out to vote. It then means that the political parties and candidates did not do their own work very well. You cannot be depending on INEC and NOA, that's National Orientation Agencies, to help you mobilize your members. Primarily, you know that you need the votes of these people to be able to coast home to victory. And they should also spend significant resources to mobilize people to register, mobilize them to go and collect their PVC, mobilize them to also vote at elections. Join INEC in conducting voter education, not only for their members, but even for members of the public. There is nothing in the rule books that says that APC, PDP, Labour Party, or any of the 19 registered parties cannot conduct town hall meetings to sensitize Nigerians about the forthcoming off-cycle governorship election. There is nothing that says they cannot come to News Central TV to also pay for political adverts, to mobilize members of the public to come out en masse and participate in the forthcoming election. So it's not something that should just be left to INEC, believing that INEC is the one that has the omnipotent and omniscient responsibility to conduct credible elections. It's a joint responsibility of all the actors and stakeholders in the electoral process. And that's why I'm also saying that civil society organization, I've done my own bit by writing about it in my column.
All right, Mr. Jide Ojo.
I'm discussing it on your platform. And if everyone does this in their own corner, I'm sure that the message will get to the potential voters to participate in the process.
Absolutely, Jide Ojo. Thank you very much, sir. Good to have you on this afternoon.
My pleasure.